Folks, today we have something very exciting to look at. This is a medication that we have in the United States, but it requires a prescription. It comes in tablets, just standard tablets. It comes in a suppository. It comes in an injection. It comes in a liquid by itself. And it also comes in a liquid with dextromethorphan as well as codeine. I'm talking about none other than promethazine. I changed my settings on these videos, the audio, to create a more tingly ASMR experience. But the thing is, the more I turn up the gain, the more the microphone picks up things like just little mouth clicking. So I'm trying my best to make it so that is minimized. And I'd appreciate your feedback. So this is promethazine. The brand name is Phenergan, which is the same brand name we have in America. This is not from America. It has the Braille writing on here, and I do not read or speak Braille. I do not know what this says. If anyone watching this can read Braille, I would like to know what it says. Now, obviously, I know that this Braille writing is going to be relevant to this package. It probably has the name and the dose, maybe. But I don't know. Does it have the brand name? Does it have the generic name? Does it have both? I don't know. So if anyone knows, please tell me. You need a prescription in the US for this, but apparently I believe this is a UK version. I'm just going to assume it's from the UK. Yeah, it says right here. Ooh, Reading, Berkshire. So that's like, a little bit west of London? What this is... Now, this has actually mystified me for many, many years. Because this is like an other. For things like, I don't know. There's lots of different meds out there, and they have like a main mechanism of action. So like, morphine is an opioid agonist. As an opioid. We know what that does. This one is kind of weird. And for many years, I think myself and others have been shy about its use. Because of that, because of how weird it is, we don't really feel comfortable with it. And here's why. Promethazine tablet. Promethazine is actually very, very structurally speaking similar to antipsychotics. So it kind of gets lumped in sometimes, like whenever you kind of compartmentalize these medicines and you remember them. But so antipsychotics are dopamine antagonists. But this is like so weak. It is such a weak dopamine antagonist that we don't even call this an antipsychotic. What is it then? For the most part, we'd probably call this an antihistamine. But it's way different. It's way different than what we're used to. It does have a very strong anticholinergic effect. But we wouldn't really call this a first-generation antihistamine. I don't know, it's just other. It's just its own weird little thing that just so happens to block the histamine receptor. Or I guess to block histamine at the histamine receptor would be the proper way to say that. So what the heck is it used for? Well, let's take a look at this package. Cat, flower, bed, airplane. So this is for cats who want to sleep and travel outside. Just kidding. It's for allergies and stuff. But you'll see here it's a little bit different. Before I forget, I mentioned this comes in a suppository. Now, as far as I know, in the UK, you can only buy the tablets. Without a prescription, that is. I'm sure they probably have other things with a prescription. Why can't you buy the suppository? Why not? These are the questions that we will never have answers to, my friends. Regulation does not follow logic 90% of the time. And I have just come to a place in my life where I just lay back and accept it. It just is what it is. The tablets can be given rectally. Yep. There's something called a Macy catheter, which you can take a tablet, you can grind it up. You can grind it up and mix it with liquid and then administer it through the bum. Now, why in the world would anyone ever want to do that? Why would anyone want to put a tablet in their bum whenever the suppositories already exist? The suppository is probably, I would say, probably 10 times more expensive than this. Is it worth it? Most people would say no. It really doesn't matter. So you might as well go with the cheaper option. Always read the leaflet, folks, before taking this medication. Keep out of the sight and reach of children. This is contraindicated in children less than 2 years old. Each tablet contains 25 milligrams of promethazine. That's a pretty normal dose. I think you can go up to 50. And you can actually split these in half and go to 12 and a half as well. Now, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I did not buy this in the UK. I've never even been to the UK. I don't even know what the UK is, and I know you think I'm kidding. I'm not. I am constantly confused at the difference between the United Kingdom, England, Wales, I don't know what Wales is, Scotland. Isn't there another name? Britain, Great Britain? I don't know what any of these things mean. And I will never learn the difference. No, I'm just kidding. One day I will. But for now, I allow that to be a mystery. I bought this in Bermuda, the tiny island nation of Bermuda. Bermuda is actually very close to the United States. It's like a 45-minute flight from Raleigh, North Carolina. But Bermuda is a British territory. So they have British meds there, as well as American and as well as Canadian. Pretty interesting stuff. Take a look at these directions. Uses to treat allergic conditions such as hay fever. We see the antihistamine mechanism of action on full display with this indication. Rashes or hives, antihistamine, or to prevent travel sickness. Now, that's an interesting one. Yes, this is good for nausea or travel sickness or whatever. In fact, I see it all the time for nausea. But is that the anticholinergic effect? Is that some sort of mechanism in the chemoreceptor zone? It's really tough to say. This is why I think people are uncomfortable with this, because we know, but we don't really know why this is good for nausea. It's a combination of things, I guess, which perhaps is a good thing depending on who you talk to. And also to treat adults with difficulty sleeping. There we see, the anticholinergic effect. We see the histamine effect. This is sedating. And it says right here, children below 2 years, not recommended in any conditions. But look, it has different dosing here. So for allergic conditions, children 2 to 5. Oh, they recommend the liquid here. That's cute. I like that. 5 to 10, a single nighttime dose of 1 tablet. For children 10 above. Wow, that's weird. They do 10 in the US. Normally we do 12, or they do 10 in the UK. Or Great Britain. Nobody knows. We do 12 and above in the US typically. A single daily dose of 1 tablet, increasing to a maximum of 1 tablet twice a day. Interesting. So is that to say children metabolize this slower than adults? Maybe, maybe not. Okay, travel sickness, 10 milligram. Okay. This would never fly in America. Children 5 to 10 years old, the use of Phenergan elixir or Phenergan 10 milligram tablets is recommended. Well, okay, I guess that kind of makes sense. I thought initially this package was saying you're supposed to get 10 milligram out of this 25 milligram tablet, which would be impossible. So for children 12 or 10 and older, 1 tablet the night before the journey. This may be repeated after 6 to 8 hours if necessary. This is something I don't like. Why are children 5 to 10 able to take one full tablet for hay fever, but for travel sickness, children 5 to 10 should only take 10 milligram? I really don't like it whenever packages try to, I will say, be so proper that it just ignores logic. What, a 7-year-old is sick, or 7-year-old has travel sickness, so if he takes a full tablet it'd be bad, but if that same child had hay fever and he took a tablet, it would be fine. Come on. Come on. Get with the program. And I love this. For short-term sedation, we would never use that terminology in the US. And here, kids can have 1 dose, and adults can have 2 tablets. This also comes as a injection. I think I mentioned that. But it can cause severe, issues in the blood vessels and the skin around the injection site. So it shouldn't be given IV, it should be given IM. How much was this? I have my receipt right here. Okay, oh my gosh, $26.75. So that's in US dollars. So Bermuda actually uses the US dollar for 56 tablets. You're looking at 50 cents a pop here. What is the name of this company? Oh, it's Sanofi. Yeah, they're pretty popular. Let's pop this out and see what it looks like. Ooh. Ooh. All right. What genius? Before I show you this, what genius created this package? What is that little thing down there? That's the pill, right? A little, I don't even know what color that is. Slightly reddish pill. It's blue. Why is that sitting there? What is that if it's obviously not the pill? PN25. I cannot wait to try this. Oh, baby. Look how white that is. That's so white. The contrast between the blue and the white. Look at that. We got it into quarters. I am definitely going to try this on my main channel. Why is this in cough medicines, though? There's promethazine DM, which is promethazine and dextromethorphan, and there's promethazine with codeine. What's it doing there? People don't know that the first generation antihistamines, so Benadryl, etc., they can actually help with cough. So it makes sense to put these in cough medicines. We don't really ever do that. I don't know why. You will never see anybody recommend or prescribe a first generation antihistamine for a cough, yet there are guidelines that recommend it. It's there. If you are paying attention, you should have one burning question. This is an antihistamine, and it's anticholinergic, and it's good for nausea. Benadryl is an antihistamine, and it's anticholinergic. Can that be used for nausea? It can. But we never do that, and I don't really know why. Think of things like meclizine, dimenhydrinate. Those are first generation antihistamines. They're antihistaminergic, and they are also anticholinergic, and those are used for nausea. But for whatever reason, Benadryl gets left out. Now, I think the FDA labeling doesn't mention that on the Benadryl labeling. So that's probably why. But I don't know why that got left out of the FDA monograph. For some reason it did. Night Nurse is an amazing combination. And I can't wait to try this either. Paracetamol, so that's acetaminophen, promethazine, which we just talked about, and dextromethorphan. And I love this. Relieves tickly cough. Okay. You want to play that game? You want to play the tickly? You're going to use the word tickly on a medication package. Shivers, aches and pains, runny nose, sore throat, headache, and so aids restful sleep. Can cause addiction. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I can't wait to try this either. Night Nurse capsules have been specially formulated to provide a complete nighttime cold and flu treatment by quickly providing relief from major cold and flu symptoms. How to take adults age 16 and over take 2 capsules. Why is this 16? Pick the most random ages. Do not give to children under 16. Why? Maybe it's the dextromethorphan part. Do not take more for 3 days. .500 milligrams of paracetamol. That's typical American dose. This is only promethazine 10 milligram though. And dextromethorphan 7.5 milligram. Now dextromethorphan is a cough suppressant. The more I use dextromethorphan, the more I look into it, the more I don't like it. It's not really effective. So that paracetamol, which is Tylenol for us, that's going to help with fever and muscle-related pain. Promethazine, that could help with cough, but more than likely this is sedating than anything. And then dextromethorphan is for the cough. So you could see how that combination would help somebody who's, just got a regular fever, a cold. I can't wait to take this. I have to wait until I'm sick again, though. Look at these capsules. This is pure British engineering right here. Or UK engineering